Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a small coastal village, somewhere people have lived for generations, totally in sync with the tides and the seasons. But lately, things have been off. A storm hits, way stronger than anyone's ever seen, causing massive flooding. Then, a dry spell that just won't end threatens their crops. This isn't just one village's story. It's happening all over the globe.
And these events, they're not just random bits of bad weather. They're signals. They're telling us that our planet is under some serious stress. And maybe more importantly, they're telling us that our old ways of predicting and preparing for this stuff, well, they're just not cutting it anymore. They can't keep up.
But what if we could look at this whole thing differently? What if sustainability isn't just about the environment, but it's actually a real-time, data-driven problem? That's the huge idea we're going to dig into. Like this says, when you put data and AI together, you can literally save drops of water and you can save lives. By seeing our planet through this lens of data, we can finally get ahead of these crises instead of just reacting to them. It completely changes the game. So to really understand the solution, we first have to get a handle on the true nature of the challenge. The climate crisis, when you boil it down, is in so many ways an information crisis. I mean, think about it for a second. We are absolutely drowning in data, from satellites, from sensors on the ground, from weather stations. But our systems for using that information are often way too slow and siloed to turn it into action when it matters. They're built to react after a disaster hits, not to see it coming. And this, right here, is exactly where artificial intelligence comes in. And look, it's not about replacing scientists or human experts. It's about augmenting what we can do. It's giving us this incredibly powerful new ally to help us make sense of all this complexity.
And this slide just nails the matchup, doesn't it? On the left, you've got these enormous tangled challenges: storms, floods, droughts. And on the right, you have AI's core toolkit. It's built to handle huge amounts of data, make predictions, optimize how we use things, and automate the grunt work. It's like the perfect tool for the job. Which brings us to this key idea of augmented insight. AI isn't discovering new laws of physics or anything. What it's doing is giving climate scientists a kind of superpowered assistant, one that can comb through mountains of data to find those tiny, subtle patterns that show up right before a massive storm. And it can do it at a speed and scale that no human team could ever hope to match. Okay, so let's get into the specifics. How does this actually work in the real world? We're going to look at 3 key areas where AI is already making a massive difference: weather, water, and waste. First up, let's talk about wildfires. AI models can predict the risk of a fire starting by looking at all sorts of variables: temperature, humidity, wind, how dry the plants are, all from satellite images. And at the same time, you can have AI-powered drones patrolling those high-risk areas, using thermal cameras to spot a tiny hotspot before it has a chance to explode into a crisis. Or let's take water scarcity. Machine learning models can now forecast droughts way more accurately, which gives farmers and governments precious time to prepare. Then, on the ground, you have smart irrigation systems, like the ones from a company called CropX, that use AI and sensors to put water exactly when and where it's needed, optimizing every single drop. And one of the most powerful examples out there has to be Google's flood forecasting initiative. What it does is combine all these different data streams: satellite images, how fast rivers are flowing, rainfall, the elevation of the land, and it feeds all of that into an AI model. And the result? Real-time flood warnings sent straight to people's phones, saving countless lives in some of the most vulnerable parts of the world.
Now, this kind of intelligence isn't just for massive natural disasters. It's helping in our cities too, especially with water waste. You can put smart sensors all along the water pipes that are constantly listening. They monitor pressure, flow, even tiny sounds. An AI algorithm analyzes all that, looking for anything out of the ordinary, the telltale sign of a leak. And it can pinpoint the exact location for a quick fix, saving billions of liters of water.
Okay, now what's really fascinating is how we can apply these same ideas to waste. In these super advanced recycling plants, you've got robotic arms guided by computer vision that are just plucking items off a high-speed conveyor belt. They can identify plastic, paper, metal, glass, you name it, all with incredible accuracy. And that accuracy is the real game changer here. Companies like Amp Robotics have built systems that get it right over 80% of the time. I mean, that's a level of speed and focus that a human just can't match. And that efficiency doesn't just mean we recycle more, it actually makes the whole thing economically viable. It helps turn what we think of as trash into a genuinely valuable resource. And AI is also helping us tackle waste before it even happens, which is even better. By looking at things like past sales, holidays, even the weather forecast, AI models can help grocery stores predict exactly how much fresh food they're going to need. This stops them from overstocking, which is a huge step in fighting the massive problem of food waste.
But, and this is a big but, as amazing as these tools are, AI is not a magic wand. If we're going to use it responsibly, we have to be really clear-eyed about the pretty significant challenges that come along with it.
It really is a classic balancing act. You got all this incredible promise on one side, prediction, optimization, efficiency. But on the other side, you've got the peril. We have to think about AI's own environmental footprint and all the tricky ethical questions that pop up. So first, there's a pretty big irony here, right? The tool we want to use to solve environmental problems has its own environmental costs. Training these huge, complex AI models takes a massive amount of electricity. The constant need for new, better hardware creates a ton of e-waste, and the data centers themselves use enormous amounts of water just to stay cool. And beyond that footprint, there are these really practical questions we have to answer. For example, if the data we use to train an AI is biased, then its predictions are going to be biased too. Then there's the whole black box problem. Sometimes these AIs are so complex we don't actually know how they reached a conclusion, which leads to the ultimate question: if an autonomous system gets something wrong, who's accountable? These are the hurdles we absolutely have to clear. So, at the end of the day, AI gives us this powerful new blueprint for how to manage our planet's health. It gives us the tools to finally get proactive instead of just reacting to disasters. But a blueprint is just a guide, right? The technology itself is neutral. So the big question it leaves us with isn't really about what AI can do, but what we as people will choose to do with it. Because building that smarter, more sustainable future, that responsibility is still 100% on us.